Salve and welcome to another installment of my Gesta Romanorum. Today we will be starting the Gesta Romanorum Capitulum Quintum de Sectanda Fidelitate. It's about 75 lines in total, so we'll break this up into a few sessions. De Sectanda Fidelitate, concerning a trustworthiness or a faithfulness to be pursued, or concerning following faithfulness. Today we'll do about 20 or so lines, and then we'll take a look at some of the more interesting grammatical features. Rex quidem regnavit, in cuius imperio erat quidem juvenis apiratis captus, qui scripsit patris suo pro redemptione. Pater noluit eum redemere, sic, quod juvenis multa tempore in carcerat maceratus. Ille, qui eum in vingulus habebat, quandam pulcram filiam ac oculis hominum graciosam genuerat, quae nutrit in domo erat, quousque vigenti annos in etate sua compleverat, quae saepius incarceratum visitatum ivit ac consolabator. Sed ille in tantum desolatus erat, quod nullum consolationem recipere poterat, sed suspiria gemitus continue metebat. Accidit quodam die, quod cum puella eum visitaret, aed juvenis ei. O bona puella utinum veles pro mea liberatione liberare. Quae ait, quorum patro hoc attentare, pater tuus qui te genuit, non volte redemere, ego vero, cum sim tibi extraneae, quorum deberem hoc cogitare. Et si te liberarem, offensionem patris mei incurrerem, qui tuum redemptionem perderet pater meus. Verum tamen mici unum concede, et liberabo te. Ait ille, o bona puella, petame quid tibi placuerit, si mici est possibile ego concedam. Ad illa nicil aliud peto pro tua liberatione, nisi quod me nuxorum ducas tempore opportuno, qui ait hoc tibi firmiter promito. Translation: A certain king reigned, in whose kingdom there was a certain man captured by pirates, who wrote to his own father for redemption, or to be bought back. The father did not want to buy him back thus, on the grounds that, or because, the young man, for a long time, that's in a ablative of extent of time rather than accusative extent of time, was emaciated or worn down in prison. That one, he who had the young man eum in chains, had begotten a certain beautiful daughter, and in the eyes of men gracious, who was kept or nourished at home all the way up until 20 years in her age she had completed, up until she had completed her 20 years in age, who would make a visit, or who would visit and console the one incarcerated, the one in prison, rather often. That's a comparative adverb. But that one was desolate to such an extent that he was able to receive no consolation, but would continually emit or send forth sighs and groans. It happened on a certain day that when the maiden was visiting him, he said to her, "O good maiden, would that you wanted to labor to work for my freedom or my liberation." And she said, "How am I able to try this? Or how could I try this? Your father who begat you does not want to buy you back, and I, or but I, because I am a foreigner or stranger to you, how am I able to think about this, or how could I think about this? And if I should free you, I would incur the offense of my father, because my father would lose your redemption, i.e. the money that comes along with being bought back, so your redemption money. Nevertheless, grant one thing to me, and I will free you. And he said, O good maiden, ask from me whatever would be pleasing to you. If it is possible to me, I will grant it. And she said, nothing else, or nothing other than, I ask for your liberation, except that you lead me unto a wife, or you marry me at the proper time. And he said, I promise this to you firmly. Next time we'll pick up with statum puella, but let's go back and pick up a couple of the grammar things. So it starts off in the perfect tense rather than the imperfect, which is what you might expect. There's also in medieval Latin a variation between AE and just an E because of the pronunciation differences. So here in this line you have QUAE, and here you have a abbreviated form, still meaning que, still the relative pronoun, and that can happen both in the declension at the end, and it can happen at the root as well. So you could see AE for aitate, or you could just see etate. Here we have que sapius incarceratum visitatum evit. In medieval Latin, you can have the verb ire plus the supine in the accusative case to indicate habitual action. And that's why that's paired with an imperfect also indicating a habitual action. So you have these two habitual actions going on together. You also have, how could I think about this? The berum here is not in the sense to owe something or to be obligated. Here is just acting as a conditional or an auxiliary verb here, going along with cogitare. Pick back up with us next time, and we'll keep going through the rest of Caput Quintum of the Gesta Romanorum. Vale.